About 4 days.
It's crazy, yeah. So I've been using it on and off for about two weeks now, and yeah, I've found it really amazing to do. To write up stuff that you need, and it saves a lot of time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, there you go. I'll leave you with it.
We've hit 12:30, so we'll jump into it. So thank you for joining us on the introduction to Copilot. I'm Fabio Suffel. I'm one of the directors of Qbit IT Solutions. I'm first going to introduce you to Copilot. Copilot is a Microsoft 365 AI-powered assistant designed to enhance productivity by integrating seamlessly with Microsoft 365 applications. It leverages advanced AI technologies to help users streamline their workflows, automate tasks, and improve overall efficiencies. So what I read was just written by Copilot after this webinar will go for about 45 minutes. We'd love for you to send us emojis. We did a practice earlier on. So if you hit the react button at the top, if you hear something that you like, but if you could do it now, just to prove to us that you're out there, you're listening, feedback helps us. So we really do appreciate that feedback, because at the moment it looks like I'm talking to my computer. And yep, we've definitely got a few people out there giving us some feedback and emojis. So yeah, please keep that up through the webinar. We really do appreciate that, and it spurs us on. So today we're going to have a demo from the least savvy IT business owner I know. Then we're going to have a presentation. So Brad over here. Then we're going to have a presentation from Mark Voice, a Copilot ambassador. And to finish off, I'll let you know what you need to achieve this yourself. Whilst chat has been disabled, you can certainly use the Q&A at the top. And we will put your questions in as we go through the webinar, and we'll certainly address them at the end of the webinar, or we'll get back to you with answers if we can't answer them off the cuff. Okay, so we're going to start with a Copilot demonstration from the least IT savvy business owner I know, my best mate, Brad Raynor. I've known Brad since high school, so I can say that about him without him clubbing me over the back of the head.
Yep.
Brad is the director of Cognito. Cognito specializes in building thriving business cultures where team members feel they belong, actively engage and think for themselves, and choose to stay. Brad has done extensive work with the teams at Qbit and has made a massive difference to the culture and stickiness of our amazing staff. A lot of the staff that you see in this presentation here today have all been through some of Brad's courses, so feel free at any stage to ask those staff about Brad, or reach out to ourselves if you need any of his services. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hand you over to Brad. So Brad, if you want to come on in.
Good day, everyone. Everyone can hear me all right? If you want to give us a thumbs up, that'll help. Very good. Thank you very much. Oh, okay, that's lots there. Right. So Fabio's not overestimating the statement, I am a technophobe. And so Qbit have been great for me because they do plug and play. So me picking up Copilot is actually quite an interesting thing, because I don't want to know this stuff, but I saw a potential for my business to be much more effective. We're experts in people, not in computers. And what I'm about to present to you is a demonstration of a real life situation. I'm working with a company turning over around about $30 million. They've got an extensive leadership team, and we're working through how to amplify the productivity and the performance of the team and create great environments. The business owner wanted me to put together a bespoke presentation about the psycho-safety legislation here in West Australia, so that their team could understand that what they're doing isn't just great for the team and great for business, it's going to protect them at the same time. Now, putting together a bespoke presentation linked to legislation would normally take us around about 16 hours to create. What I'm about to show you is real time. And we know that we create the first draft of the PowerPoint and the document that goes along with the PowerPoint in around about 15 minutes. And within 4 hours, I had the whole presentation and documents ready to go for the training, saving us about 12 hours. So that's why this really works. And someone like me literally can do it. So I'm going to walk you through it. So we're going to show a video of me actually doing this, and then we're going to work through. So you'll see my document on the left, and which has all the elements of an effective team. On the right side in blue, I've asked Copilot to go get my document PDF of the about the legislation and to read it. I tell her I'd like you to examine the document and read it. And in real time, it pops out a summary of the legislation. Now, because I know the legislation, I know this is right, but I want it to give me a greater depth of understanding. So I ask it, I'd like you to read it again, and then I'd like you to compare it to my book, because I know that its content is actually correct. So it analyzes the book on the left-hand side, compares it to the legislation, and I want it to give me a summary, but it says it can't. So I can't make changes to the document, which isn't what I wanted because I said it the wrong way. So I need to create a better prompt. So let's wait for the video to roll forward a moment, because I need to prompt the Copilot better. So I ask it, can you please take the information from my handbook, find the relevant actions, and suggest actions a leader needs to do to ensure they align with the psychosafety legislation? I hit play, and it creates for me in around about 15 seconds the information that's beneath. And it actually outlines in that short period of time all of the elements of that an effective team needs to put in. And as I read through it, I liked it, but I identified that it hadn't linked it clearly enough to the psychosafety legislation. So I put in another prompt with spelling that didn't work, but it's got spell, it reads it anyway. Explain how the setting up your team with alignment works. And it created this for me, where it actually outlined the key elements every team needs and links it to the legislation. And it did that all for me with the prompts and my spelling in around about 3 minutes. I read through these parts and saw that it linked to the alignment, and I liked it. I knew my content explicitly myself so I could check it, so I simply hit copy. When you copy it, I'm able to then, where have we gone? Waiting for that. I pasted it into a Word document. So I've taken what Copilot's given me and pasted it here, read through it and go, I like that. I'm going to use that as the basis for my presentation. It's got everything we need to do. I can give that as a handout. I need to create a PowerPoint to walk the leaders through this step by step. So what I do then is I go and get one of my PowerPoint slides with all my branded slides. I save it under a new file name, and then I get Copilot up, which you'd see on the top right-hand side, and I start typing in my prompt, which you'll see on the bottom here. And this is in real time. And I say, please, Copilot, create for me a PowerPoint using this template, which is the template of the slides on the left, aligning with, and I grab the document we created previously, and I link it in because it's within my Office 365 domain, so I can just join that together. And now I give it the details of what I want to achieve, so I can walk the executive leaders through to see how effective teams construction will not only enhance productivity, performance, profit, their freedom, as well as ensure they align with the psychosafety legislation. So showing them that doing it's the right thing to do. It helps their staff and it covers their butt. I hit play and you're now watching how long it takes. It's looking through that document and it says to me, Brad, I'll do this, but am I allowed to use the slides on the left? Because I've saved it and I'm happy to lose that information, I say yes. And in a moment, there we go, I click on the yes. Now, Copilot knows that it can write over those slides, but uses the base template. It identifies the key points I want to make. And I'm really happy with those because I've created them previously and checked it. And now in real time, it's creating my first draft of my PowerPoint, something that used to take me about to get to this point, around about 6 hours. Bang, there it is. It's created 20 slides. Now I want to improve. I've got my first draft. This would have taken me for a long, long time. So now all I have to do is spend time editing. I go to Designer and it comes up with different ideas to help improve its original presentation. That agenda's terrible. If you're in a room, it's hard to see. Yeah, that's okay. Check out the other ones. Yeah, don't like that one. I like the first one. And so I go back up and in a moment, I'll grab that first one. Come on, Brad, grab it. There we go. But the colours aren't branded colours, so I need to change it. And this is where you see I'm not good at this stuff. I changed the words. I need to change the fill. I learned that, yes, I can do that. Okay, that'll take me a moment now that I know to do it. So I'll have a look at another slide. Because now all I'm doing is just editing using Designer to come up with ways of making this presentation look better within my slides. I look at my different options. I can enjoy this. That slide there has the text is too small and I want to reduce the size of the picture so that people in the presentation can see it easier. Great, picture's smaller. I want to make the text a little bit bigger so it's easier to read from the back of the room. So there we go, just playing with it. Now the text is easier to read, the picture's smaller, and this would just be what I repeat. Once I've completed this, my presentation's ready to go. Of course, I'll play with the Word document, make it prettier and put it into our branding, but something that used to take me 16 hours now has only taken me 4 from woe to go. And that is the power of Copilot for me. I will say a couple of other things. If you're going to use Copilot, use your please and thank yous. For some reason, using manners with Copilot gets it to do a better work for you. The other one is don't worry about your spelling. It'll cover that. So for me, praise God, it actually sorts that out. And the third one that I've learned is if you want it to do a really good job, tell it to take a moment. Something like Copilot, don't rush. Do a really good job. It takes about an extra 30 seconds, but I find there's an improvement in its analysis, especially of legislation and complex documents. So there's some of the insights. It saved us a lot of time, and thank you for letting me share it, Fabio.
Yeah, awesome, Brad. So that was an amazing demonstration, and I can just see how that would have really saved you a whole lot of time over the last few weeks of having it.
Yeah.
And even with the learning time to learn. This webinar will go for about 4.
Well, as I said, we've probably saved 4 days worth of work, and we're delivering the same quality, if not a bit better, because we have more time to do the reviews.
Yeah.
So we're actually able to deliver the outcomes to the clients faster with accuracy.
Yeah.
It's really good. So I'll leave you with it, but that was my little demonstration from someone who really isn't competent with computers.
Well, look, I'd really like to thank you for actually taking the time to record that and go through it. I know that it's taken us a little bit of time to record that video and then talk through it. That was done in real time, but we didn't want to do a live demo because we all find it a bit hard to talk and type at the same time. So that's why we recorded it. So I hope everyone enjoyed that. And I do see a couple of emojis and thumbs up and hearts and all that sort of thing. So
thanks very much.
Really appreciate that. Once again, any questions, please chuck them in the Q&A and we'll address them at the end. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand you over to, I'm going to introduce you to Mark Voice, a Microsoft Copilot Ambassador. Mark holds the role of Solution Development Specialist, focusing on Microsoft technologies with a solid foundation of 20+ years in the IT industry. Primarily in deploying Microsoft technologies, he has transitioned to a role of dedicated to enabling and developing technological partners. His expertise now guides partners through the adoption of Microsoft Suite products encompassing modern workplace solutions, security, and AI. So without any further ado, I'd like to hand you over to Mark.
Fantastic. Thanks very much. Can you hear me okay there, Fabio and team?
Perfect,
Excellent.
thank you. Yeah.
First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to talk to everyone that could make the time here today around the exciting world of AI and Copilot and everything that's ushering this new world of how we're going to be working. We really are seeing really just the beginning of how AI is going to be transforming the way we work at the moment. I mean, we already see how AI is transforming the way that we live personally. I mean, if you think about it, if you look at your Netflix and all your social platforms, and if you're lucky enough, you got Google Nest or an Alexa or something along those lines at home, you're already using a lot of AI in your own personal lives. So imagine if you translate over to what you're doing in your professional lives as well, and the ease and the productivity gains, the creativity gains, and just seeing what we saw a moment ago from Brad in that video there. He's taken half the demonstration that we do for a lot of customers away from me, because a lot of the power between AI and Copilot specifically was demonstrated there. And I think a big thing that should be taken away from that demonstration is how you were interacting with the AI as well. We have been geared for many years around, ever since search engines were around, to really get the information we want from the internet, to really just ask specific questions. And they look at the keywords. So if I was looking at a Qbit, and then I was trying to find some information, I'll write Qbit, IT, Western Australia. It'll come up with your information. Brilliant. And we've been geared to search in that way for years now. And we have to now change that. So we have got to try and re-engineer how we interact with all the search that we're doing at the moment, purely on the way that we need to be prompting AI. Now, Brad used the word prompting before, and now prompting might not be a very common word that you might have heard before. So what I've got up on the screen here, I thought I might just really come to back to basics and really understand a few with the heralding of AI and this new sort of way we're going to be working. There's some new acronyms that we need to understand as well. Now, AI, we understand what AI is, artificial intelligence, and that's been around since, I think the first, was it 1956? I think it was the very first AI that we've known about. Generative AI is a subsidy of that, being creating new text, new images, new design, new voice. An example of generative AI and how it works is I could ask it if I ask a question 5 times to the same Gen AI engine, and it'll give me the same answers, but it'll tell me in different ways. So a big thing about generative AI, it is always brand new. It is not rehashing what's already there. It is creating a new way of providing the same responses. Now, LLM is effectively the engine underneath all the AI. Now, if you think about ourselves as humans, we've got 2 things. We've got knowledge, and we've got ways that we interact. LLM is effectively that as well. So it has a extremely strong vector, understood information dictionary of its own, and it also understands how natural language works. So you would have seen very clearly how the AI was talking back to Brad and providing responses out to the questions. The engine creating all of those responses and understanding those questions was the LLM. Now, prompting. Prompting is the new way we're going to be talking to AI. No longer are we going to be searching for something, we're going to be prompting AI for something. And we're going to be asking it, again, in natural language. Similar to what Brad was saying, it is nice to use our manners sometimes, so we have to use our please and thank yous, and it's very interesting some of the responses you get from AI around that. Now, ChatGPT. Everyone's heard of ChatGPT. ChatGPT stands for Chat Generative Pre-trained Transformer. long word, GPT, we'll keep it to that. Now, what that means, pre-trained, an LLM that already knows a lot of information, generative, so it's generating information responses for you, and transformer, that relates to the architecture that actually sits underneath. Now, ChatGPT is probably something that we know about the most, or have heard about the most in our day-to-day lives. Now, if you're thinking about ChatGPT, that's been around since the end of 2022. And if you're thinking about the technology and how we adopt technology ourselves, it goes from 0 to 100 million users using it. As you can see in this graph here, can be slow depending on who's picking up the technology, what it is, and what point in time we're actually picking it up as well. And as you can see on the screen there, mobile phones, the internet, Facebook, I can provide stats for WhatsApp, Netflix, and the likes, but they're all in the years. Now, if you look at ChatGPT and AI technology, you'll be surprised that it took 3 months to get to 100 million users of an AI chatbot. 3 months compared to every other technology that we've seen before. The quickest update of any technology that we've seen in this side of the 21st century. So it is incredibly quick how we're picking this up and adapting to it. Now, talking about adapting to work. Now, AI has come to work. Everyone, and I do this at every single in-person or webinar event, asking, are you using ChatGPT in your work at the moment? And there's a lot of blank faces sometimes, and there's a lot of nervous raising of hands. But even myself, prior to Copilot and understanding how ChatGPT works, I was using ChatGPT as well. Now, 75% of people globally saying that you already use AI at work. I don't know if you're aware, but anything you do put into the public-facing ChatGPT or even the paid ChatGPT, unless you're very careful and disable certain defaults, is used to train the P in that word, ChatGPT, a pre-trained model, which means that any information that I put in there, whether it be personal information or business information as well, is used to train the LLM. So if you put information in there, the LLM learns it and it will be resurfaced by someone that might ask a similar question. So be very, very wary of that. You might see some headlining acts from Samsung, Apple and the likes that have actually been very cautious about it, or even been, have had some issues with some of their IP being put into ChatGPT. So be very, very aware of that as well. Now, very proud to say that Australia is a little bit more technology advanced from a lot of other regions there. So if we're looking at AI usage and usage of AI within our own lives, our personal and professional lives, we are sitting at 84% of people using AI at work at the moment. So again, goes to back to the point of when I ask about other people using ChatGPT in their current work at the moment, there's a lot of hands that get raised. Now, I thought I might, this is fairly new. Now, you might not be aware, but the Australian government is actually one of the first governments in the world to start looking or trialing generative AI within their day-to-day operations. Now, that includes agencies that are public-facing, that are accessibility fronting as well, and what they've actually come back with is some of the results and time saving that they've actually seen themselves. We've heard of the time saving for Brad and for Fabio, and I'll give you a quick demonstration of a rundown of how I've used time saving as well. Now, when Microsoft released Copilot for Microsoft 365, it was a very, very small pilot or group of companies globally that were in the thousands and thousands of seats that actually got to pilot Copilot. Now, what they found from that is on average, they were saving 10 hours per month on the back of just using Copilot across many different roles, many different tasks and jobs as well. And as time's gone on and the understanding of how to prompt Copilot, the amount of time savings has actually increased to the point that we're now seeing mentions of 10 hours per week. Now, if you can imagine some of those tasks that you do each day, whether they be around summarizing emails, creating PowerPoint presentations, and I'll probably go through that in a little bit more in a second. If you think about how you could use AI to maybe take away some of those drudgery tasks by augmenting them, so getting AI to help you out with some of the work, or automating it completely, in which case it's a hands-off approach and AI is doing it for you, and the amount of time that you can save in doing that. And then think about the amount of time that will give you back in the day where you can actually do some of the very important jobs or tasks that you need to do in a daily as well. So really it's talking about the additional productivity that providing to you as well. Now, looking at the what you see on the screen there, one thing to call out there, 4,200 plus minutes saved per person per year. Now, it's actually a staggering amount, considering sometimes the uptake of technology isn't overly quick. It isn't overly easy to actually see immediately, but within those immediate months, we're actually starting to see some of the benefits of it already. And another thing to call out there is 68% of staff reported improvement to their speed of work as well. Now, a good example of that I saw during this presentation was that within Microsoft Word, you can recreate new documents by referencing other files. So no longer do you have to do copying and pasting of other documents or old documents or tenders or agreements. You just reference them from directly within one Word document, and you can actually reference up to 3 different documents. And you can ask Copilot to look at these 3 documents. Now bring into this document a summary of all 3 of those, focusing on this agreement that you've in an email that you've discussed earlier, or focus on this part of the information as well. And it will bring all that information to bear within that one document. And the beauty of that is if there are security policies on any of those documents that are sensitive of nature, that sensitivity policy and that security will follow that document as well. So it's very interesting to bring to discuss. Now, we haven't really touched on security much, and everyone at Qbit will be able to take you through the implications of security when you're looking at AI as well. But it's something to really be considering. Now, talking about Copilot from Microsoft 365, what we get asked, what we see a lot of confusion around is the differences in Copilot. Now, there are quite a few Copilots that you can actually purchase out there at the moment, all for different reasons, for different fits, different varieties of industry as well. Now, the one that it always is at the center of everything is Copilot from Microsoft 365. Now, that is your AI assistant that you would have seen from the demonstration from Brad, that sits within Word, sits within Excel, Outlook, Teams, PowerPoint, and Loop as well. Now, one thing to call out here is what AI is, or what Copilot is, and effectively what it is not. Now, bringing AI into your work does not mean that you'll be able to sit back and it will know what you do for work. It knows what you do in your job each day, and it will pick up and it'll do a lot of that for you. Now, you are still the driver. You are the pilot of your job, and you're a pilot of what you do each day. Well, the AI assistant that would be provided to you within those apps is your co-pilot. It is your AI assistant. You need to be prompting it to do something that you would like it to do within the application. And I'll provide you a few more examples of how I use it. Now, these are very, very easy, high-level examples that go across a lot of information workers, whether you're in the sales, you're in the exec team, if you're in reception, finance, whatever it may be. We're all checking emails. Now, if you check emails during the day, I've conservatively put down 15 minutes. Now, that's just to get you up to date on everything. If there are very long chains that you've been added to as well, there's a lot of varying that has to come from that. Now, I've put down 15 minutes, again, conservative. Organising your day. Now, there is, you get added to a lot of meetings. That could be about meeting discussions that you might have had 2, 3, 4 weeks ago. The good thing about Copilot is you can ask it to give you a summary of every single discussion that, for example, I've had with Fabio in the last 6 months around Copilot, and just give me a summary of what we talked about before we jump into the next meeting. And without me having to go through all the documents and Teams chats and meetings that we've had and emails, it'll give me a summary. So saving a fair bit of time. Now, attending meetings and attending every single meeting and rescheduling meetings can take a fair bit of time. With Copilot from Microsoft 365, there's a very powerful feature in there called Instant Recap. Now, what that means is it will give you a complete summary of a meeting that you weren't able to attend, providing action items as well as times when you were mentioned. So you can actually go back and revisit those parts of the meeting that you were mentioned. Now, a very powerful part of this means that you were getting some time back in your day to, instead of going to that meeting, attend another meeting or attend another job or task that is critical. That's been put a bit of time constraint on there as well. And going back and just reading those notes on the meeting that pertain to what you need to know about as well. Now, creating a PowerPoint presentation. Brad, thank you again for a great example of this one. Now, I've mentioned 3 hours minimum in putting a PowerPoint presentation together. With the work that I do, I live within PowerPoint, and creating a PowerPoint from scratch is for a non-creative such as myself is not the most easiest thing. So starting with a blank canvas is not the best way for me to go about it. So what I do is I actually use Copilot, and I use previous templated approaches to actually put things together. But I put 3 hours minimum. Now, what does that look like now? I put all that together in 1 month, and I almost fell off my chair when I found out that a lot of these drudgery tasks I'm spending 21 hours per month doing. Now, using AI and using Copilot to summarize my emails, prioritize them for me in specific into a table, so I know who to speak to first and what to do next. So I'm saving a bit of time and being a little bit more proactive, sorry, as well. It's down to 5 minutes. And I've put the prompt there that we can actually put into Copilot as well to demonstrate that. Organising my day from 30 minutes down to 10. Like a good example of when I was talking about Fabio. I'm not going to be having a meeting with him. We've talked about a lot on Copilot. Can you summarize this for me before I go in there? So I'm well rehearsed on what we've actually discussed previously. Down to 5 minutes on following or scheduling meetings, making sure I can get that time back as well if I'm being double booked, and creating a presentation. Brad, remind me, how long did it take to put that presentation together again?
To put it together, about 20 minutes, and then it was just editing work.
20 minutes plus a bit of editing. Now, another good example of that, as another example, is my wife. She's actually gone back to university to be a teacher, and they are actually being asked to use AI engines like Copilot to summarize everything they're doing so they can speed up the work they're doing. Another thing they were asked to do was actually create a presentation. Now, it took her roughly 5 hours to put together a presentation, which I think went for about maybe 8 or so slides. Now, this definitely wasn't me showing, look what I can do to her, but it took me roughly 5 minutes to put together a similar presentation. Now, it definitely did not have everything that she wanted in there. It did not look the same way she wanted, to your point as well, Brad. It wasn't exactly how you wanted to do it. You needed to edit it a bit, but the fundamentals, the notes, the slide deck, the agenda was all there good to go. So it really is an amazing time saver. Now, talking specifically about ROI. Now, what I've done there is I've used I haven't just plucked numbers. The Australian Bureau of Statistics last year, I think it was around August or October, they put together an adult, an Australian adult, keeping in mind that's gone across states, industries and roles, excuse me, brings home $70,000 as a salary. Now, I've broken that down to monthly cost, weekly cost, and hourly cost of an employee, and then look at the monthly cost of a Copilot license, which is still an annual build license. Now, if that one user at that rate saved 1.5 hours of their time per month, not per week, per month, you have already paid for that Copilot license. So not only do you have, you've saved that 1.5 hours, that is 1.5 hours additional time that you can put to other tasks that are more in line with the work that you wanted to get done on a day-to-day. So it really is just giving you more of an ROI from a numbers perspective as well. Now, what I'm going to do real quickly, I'm working on for time, 3:04. I might just quickly run through a couple of, maybe a very quick demonstration. Can you see my screen there?
Absolutely.
You can still see that? That's okay? Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
So I'm working in the web version here at the moment, and I'll just give you a running demonstration of this is a demo environment that we've pre-filled with some of the stuff in there. Now, a lot of my emails have been back and forth with one of my colleagues. His name is Savag. Now, what I can actually do is, instead of me going into Outlook and and going through every single email. And there I can actually ask Copilot to catch up on my emails. I want you to prioritize them, and I want you to put them down on any actions that are needed by me and prioritize them as well. Now, as you see at the top of that priority list there, I do have an email that's been given to me, which from a person named Samantha Anderson, responding with an update to a laptop delivery. Great example of a priority email. So what I'll do is, one thing that's good about this is we'll actually provide you quick links on citations. So you can actually go into where that email is, where that chat is, as where that document is as well. So let's look at that email. So it's gone to Outlook and it's given me the full email as I've received there. Now,
I didn't know that.
Sorry?
Sorry, we didn't know that. Sorry, just keep going. Sorry,
oh, sorry. Okay, no worries. Okay, so you can see this email. It's quite a lengthy one. Now, one good thing about Copilot that's come out seen recently is that a lot of people respond in different ways to emails. We can't control the nature of how people respond to emails at all, and it may be very different. If you've got a team of a front-loading team that is your customer service team, and you might have teams that they might respond in text that is quite abrupt to certain emails, and it may not be different to the person they're sitting next to. What you can do with Copilot, you can actually ask it to help drafting certain things for you as well. So if we go into, oh geez, that was my Copilot, sorry. I'll go back into that again. I'll actually go directly to the email, might be a bit easier. Where is it? Oh, not too sure why my Copilot's having a bit of a moment there, guys. Apologies for that. Let's have it from here. Perfect. Okay, first of all, what I'll do is I'm going to get Copilot to summarize things for me. Now, the beauty of this is that it will give me a very quick understanding of Copilot and what it's actually doing there for me as well. Now, if I go to reply to that, we'll go to Copilot. We'll start with a draft. Now, I'm a little bit upset from this email. It's a few things that have been targeted at me. So let's reply to Samantha and say, look, apologizing for the issues she is having with her delivery, and provide a free next day delivery on the next purchase. So we'll ask Copilot to do that for me. It's a short email. I'll make it fairly casual as well. So let's generate an email there for me. Now this is it doesn't have to be the only way that you're going to be replying to this email as well. You can actually ask it to do it in such a way it's a bit shorter, a bit longer. And the good thing about Copilot is it starts to pick up on how you actually write as well. So when you actually do draft with Copilot, it will actually start to pick up on certain ways that you will actually put things together. So let's just say I'm really sorry for the trouble you're having with the laptop order, and so on and so forth. Now, I can also go back and say, make this longer, make this shorter, add certain things to it. But if you want to keep it, perfect. And we've got an email ready to go. One good thing about the little warning there is, yes, AI is very good. It is very easy to bring up examples of like Brad would have been with his understanding of certain legislation in there as well. But it is always up to you as the user to make sure that everything that is in there is actually correct. I would not be relying 100% on what Copilot put in there is 100% correct. As another example of that is overseas where a lawyer has actually used AI to actually pick up on previous court cases, and they have actually used those court cases. I'm summarising this very quickly for you, and taken that to court to find that a lot of the information that was provided wasn't even really correct at all. Now this lawyer is actually being disbarred from their practice, but it's one very clear shot across the bow to make sure that anything that you use for AI, whether it be around creating an email, creating a document, creating a PowerPoint presentation, has to be checked by yourself as well. Now, one more other thing that I'd probably like to demonstrate is maybe how much do we have time? Sorry, Fabio, just want to make sure I'm not.
We are getting to the end. We've got
We're actually over time.
yeah, we're a little bit over time. So
Okay. All right. Look, one other thing that I just want to give one more good personal use of how I actually use Copilot as well. Let's start a brand new chat here. Now, we do a lot of demonstrations of Copilot to different industries. Now, and this is in a one-to-one setting. Now, one thing I do like to ask Copilot is this very, very long prompt. Now, all I'm asking here is telling asking Copilot, look, I want you to act as someone different. This is a good thing about AI and Copilot. You can ask it to act as something different. You can ask it to act as a marketing person. In this instance, I'm actually asking it to be a technical specialist. And I want it to give me some really good prompts that I want to demonstrate in some of the apps to a specific company. Now, I'll put into asking, well, what company do you want to use that for? Well, I'm going to use GM HBA, so it's an insurance company. Now, what it's going to do, go out is look for any information that it understands about GMHBA online, about insurance. Now, as you can see there, it has come back and said, look, if you're a technical specialist, then you're demonstrating certain things to this company. You could use M365 chat and mention, show me the latest customer agreement strategies for GMHBA. Draft a report on digital marketing initiatives. Summarize emails within specific campaigns for GMHBA, and so on and so forth. Now, like I mentioned at the start, I could ask this question to it multiple different times. It'll come back with different prompts. But effectively, it'll still come back with prompts that are very similar to, maybe it's in line with GMHBA. And here's another example around the customer service improvements that we're seeing online. So just another example of maybe how I use this to, instead of starting from the blank canvas or starting from fresh as to what I could be doing, using Copilot to give me a few ideas to start off with as well. So yeah, look, that's within the short amount of time. Yeah, that's really from my end as well. Fabio?
Excellent. Thank you, Mark. You've really given us a good overview there of Copilot. And yeah, just the time savings and that sort of thing. Brad, you wrote down some stats here. What was this about?
Well, when you put your numbers up, Mark, we basically worked out the Australian government's saying they're saving around about, well, 700 hours equates to about 20 weeks of work. Like, that's ridiculously.
That's
like
huge.
We haven't quite hit that yet. We reckon we're around about 2 to 3 days a month potentially saving. But 20 weeks of work, for different industries, that's phenomenal.
It's quite fun. It's quite impressive, isn't it? Yeah, agreed.
It really is.
Yep.
Okay, so what we're going to move on now is just the last few minutes. Now, I was asked to do a roundup on what you need to make Copilot work and that sort of thing. I ran out of time, so I didn't pre-prepare this. So there's a couple of things they're saying. Never work with children, animals, or do live demonstrations. Well, I'm going to do a live demonstration. So let's see how we go. So I've pre-written my prompt here. I'm going to copy this prompt. It is basically, please write a document on what some of the recommended steps for businesses that have 20 staff with access to SharePoint and Microsoft 365 before activating Copilot. Please mention any hardware and security requirements. I'm going to click on here. I'm going to chuck in here. I'm going to paste that prompt into there, and I'm going to go generate. So normally this would probably take me, I'd have to go pick Gareth's brains, make sure that I got everything correct. But instead, I've just clicked on that. I've now got a 2-page document and almost 400 words of what you need. So high-level overview, Copilot is a license that you activate within your Microsoft 365 tenancy. You have to buy 1 license per user in your organization. The cost, don't quote me on this, I think it's $550 a year, somewhere around there. But please have a chat to your account manager. But basically, you need to make sure that you've got decent hardware. I would certainly be looking at something a bit higher than that even. We've got to look at your cybersecurity and your internal security. So there was an acronym you gave me, just enough access. What was it, Mark?
Yeah, with AI and the way it's actually just able to surface a lot of the information is just enough access. Now, just enough access means that depending on your role, it will depend on what you actually have access to within your own tenant. So a reception does not have access to the same documents that a key person within the financial team will have access to as well. A fun fact is when the early access program for Copilot was released, apparently one of the very first prompts that were asked from a lot of people that got the license was asking how much their colleague was actually being paid. So you have to just ensure that if that person have access to a certain folder, they don't have access to the folder next to it, which is just for finance teams, as an example.
So Copilot has actually outlined that here. Access control set up role-based access controls to limit data access based on user roles. So, Copilot has brought that up. User training, obviously there's no use putting something in without training people and doing a pilot of it. So yeah, any questions, please put it in the Q&A there. We'll come around to some of those questions in a minute. But basically, once you've activated the license for a user, then Copilot starts to appear in all the places, like in your Outlook. You do have to use the new version of Outlook, not the old version for installed on your machine. There's a little button at the top, and it turns up in your PowerPoint and your SharePoint and your Word documents and all that sort of thing. So yeah, so that's how you do that. If you're interested in that, please have a chat to your account manager. We do have something very hot off the press that was Mark announced to me today. We have one lucky person who attended the seminar have the ability to get today we have an offer of one lucky customer from Microsoft of a free Copilot readiness assessment worth over $3,000. If you'd like to go into the draw to win this, please send an email to sales@qbit.com.au with why you think Copilot would enhance the productivity of your business. So if you want to go in the draw to win that $3,000 assessment, then please send an email into Qbit. Looking over to the Q&A, I don't see any others there. So I think we'll wrap this webinar up with
Just Lara's question there.
just Lara's questions. Yes. How do you add Copilot into PowerPoint? Well, yeah, you have to buy the license and activate it in your tenancy against you yourself, and then it will appear in your PowerPoint application. Anything to add to that, Mark?
Once you get a Copilot from Microsoft 365 license added to your tenant, that's when all the magic really starts to happen, whereby all of the power of Copilot and the large language models that Microsoft hosts will start to put together all the vectors between everything. Now, at that point in time, when you are provided a license, Copilot will show up in your PowerPoint, your Outlook, your Word, Excel, etc. And that is when you can actually start prompting it. Now, one big thing that Microsoft are leaning towards a lot of is making sure that you're using Copilot in the way that you need to. So there is a lot of links within the Copilot themselves, within the prompting window, to actually help you with any of your prompting. So they've got websites on this that you get taken to. They've got knowledge bases you get taken to, examples as well. So yeah, it's quite a comprehensive approach to making sure that you're getting the most out of how to use it.
So we have had another question here from Nick. As a competent user of ChatGPT for improved work productivity, what are the main advantages of also using Copilot without unnecessary duplication? So yeah, I suppose we covered off a little bit about how anything you put into ChatGPT can be brought up and seen by other people. If they search for similar stuff, it'll learn off the stuff you put in. But I think Copilot goes a lot further than ChatGPT. I use ChatGPT quite a lot. The plugins with your Excel, your Word, your PowerPoint, and your Outlook, all are really fascinating to use. Even on my mobile phone on the Outlook app, I had an email from somebody trying to sell me something, and I just told ChatGPT to please politely say no. And it wrote me 2 sentences referencing the product, referencing the name of the person. So I just said, please politely say no, hit generate, wrote me a nice little paragraph, and I hit send. Mark, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, certainly. So Copilot for Microsoft 365, it looks at everything that's inside your M365 tenants, everything that we work with on a day-to-day, including your emails and all the files that are in there as well. So it has a complete understanding of the files, what's in the files as well, where you can draw on fairly quickly and fairly easily, which ChatGPT does not have. Now, just very quickly again, like ChatGPT is a technology of a company called OpenAI. Now, Microsoft and OpenAI are working together to develop this underlying AI model as well. And Microsoft is developing and providing the same infrastructure that OpenAI and ChatGPT uses also. Now, the only difference there being that ChatGPT isn't aware of all the files and emails and chats that you've got in there natively, but whereas Copilot does. So instead of having information going out and inside and out of your tenant, it does provide that seamless way of working outside of using something external.
Excellent. So I don't see any other questions. So yeah, just like to thank Mark and thank Brad for your time today and the effort you've gone in putting this together. I know it's not natural for us guys to be presenting this stuff. I'm an IT person. We all are a little nervous about it, but honestly, if everyone can wouldn't mind just giving a bit of a reaction to thank those guys as well. And thank you for all those people who hung on right till the end. We really do appreciate you giving your time. Now, if you are interested in more, please don't forget to put in for that readiness assessment by sending an email to sales@Qbit, or reach out to your account manager if you're a Qbit customer. If you're not a Qbit customer, then feel free to just reach out to myself or sales, and we'll get back to you on how to implement Copilot for Microsoft 365 in your organization. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. That was great.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Brad. Thanks, Fabio.
Thanks, Jennifer, as well.
Thanks, Jen. Yes.